Then here's Jochebed. This is Moses' mother. Godly, courageous woman, hid him in the bulrushes so that he might live, and became godly, courageous man. You can go through the scriptures, and what happens? You see, Mom, you have this awesome influence. And a dad has influence, but there's something, God made you women very special. He made mothers. Listen, you have something inside of you. You have the potential of having awesome influence. And as you've heard this say, the mother who rocks the cradle is the one who rules the world. She's the one who brings up that child with influence to make an impact in the world. It's the pattern of your life. And when that pattern is so consistent and it's truthful and it's a pattern of obedience to God, that child is going to want to grow up, desire to grow up with the same kind of attitude because they see it in you. Well, there's a third word, and this word, persistence, because it's one thing to have the principles, but if you're not consistent and you just keep on persisting. I think about my own mom. One of the many characteristics of her that I loved was that's the way she was. If she said something and she knew something that she wanted me to learn, she kept on telling me. She didn't tell me once, she didn't tell me 10 times, she kept on. And I finally figured out she's going to keep telling me that till I do it. And she's going to keep trying to teach me this until I learn it. And here's what, and this is one of the things I loved about her most. And though she never went past the 6th grade and didn't have a lot of education, she was a very wise woman because when she would teach me something or try to teach me something, this is what I remembered. She would always put the emphasis on not what I'm doing today, but how it's going to affect me tomorrow. And I can remember her saying this so many times, because I want you to grow up and be a good boy. I want you to grow up and maybe God may use you. In other words, this was always her motivation. It was always looking out yonder. And I would simply say to you as a parent, you can't start and just look so far. You've got to be thinking about how your children are going to respond to things out there in life. Being persistent, you just keep on. Is it easy to be a godly mother? No, it's not. Or a godly father. It's not easy. And sometimes parents say, well, you know what, I think I'll just give up and quit. You can't do that. And sometimes parents will say, haven't I told you over and over and over again? Well, Mom and Dad, I wonder how many times God would say the same thing. Haven't I told you over and over and over again, you still disobey me? We don't really get a lot taught by fussing at our children. This is not to mean that there's to be no discipline, but I'm simply saying this, and that is we have a responsibility. And being persistent, don't give up, you don't quit. You say, well, you know, I've done my best, and, you know, he still doesn't get it. So I'm just going to turn him over to God. Well, that may be one way to handle it, but there's a better way to handle it. You just keep talking about it. You just keep living it out. Just keep letting them see those principles lived in you. Now, you see, some parents don't want to have any problems. The best way to teach your children, you're not going to like this too well, the best way to teach your children how to live is in your family to have problems you face. And then when you, by faith and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ, and you follow the principles of God, and you see how God works that out, if he works it out for you, what does that kid say?